Simone sat in her car outside her house at 11 o'clock at night, staring at her phone screen like it might explode. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold the device. She pressed play on the voice note for the third time, even though every word felt like a knife sliding between her ribs. "Baby, tonight was amazing." Todd's voice came through her car speakers, warm and affectionate in a way he hadn't sounded with her in months. "I can't wait until Friday. I booked that hotel you like, the one with the rooftop pool. Don't worry about the cost. Simone never checks the credit card statements anyway. She's too busy working." A woman's laugh filled the car. Young, bubbly, carefree. "You're terrible. Doesn't she wonder where you go every Friday night?" "I tell her I have client dinners." Todd laughed and Simone felt her stomach twist. "She believes everything I say. 7 years of marriage and she still thinks I'm working late 3 nights a week. Can you believe that? What if she finds out?" The woman's voice got quieter. "She won't. Simone's too trusting. Too focused on her little analyst job and her perfect life. She has no idea I pulled $15,000 from our savings last month. She doesn't even know I borrowed against the house to buy you that bracelet. The diamond one? Todd, that was too much." "Nothing's too much for you, Amber. You make me feel alive. Simone just makes me feel obligated. Like I'm living in a box I built 7 years ago and can't get out of." The voice note ended. Simone stared at the timestamp. Todd had sent it 45 minutes ago. He meant to send it to Amber, but somehow, maybe he was distracted, maybe the universe decided to intervene, he sent it to his wife instead. Simone looked up at their house. The lights were on in the living room. Todd was probably watching television, waiting for her to come home from her late meeting. He would ask about her day. Kiss her cheek. Maybe suggest they order takeout. He would act like a husband who loved his wife. And she almost walked in there ready to tell him about the promotion opportunity in New York that her boss mentioned today. She almost shared her good news with a man who was stealing from her to fund his affair. She pressed play one more time. She needed to feel it all now, here in this car, so she could walk into that house with a clear head. "Simone's too trusting," Todd's voice said again. She turned off the car and sat in the darkness. No, she thought. Simone was too trusting. Past tense. That version of herself died about 30 minutes ago, right around the second time she heard her husband mock her to his mistress. The woman who was about to walk into that house was someone different. Someone who would smile and pretend and plan. Someone who would gather every piece of evidence she could find. Someone who would make sure that when she left, she took everything she deserved and left him with exactly what he'd earned. Nothing. Simone saved the voice note to 3 different locations. She forwarded it to her personal email. She uploaded it to a cloud storage account Todd didn't know about. Then she took a deep breath, fixed her face in the rearview mirror, and stepped out of the car. The front door opened before she reached it. Todd stood there, smiling, wearing the navy sweater she bought him for Christmas. "Hey honey. How was the meeting?" "I was getting worried." Simone walked past him into the house, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor they'd picked out together 3 years ago. It ran late. "You know how Johnson is, he loves the sound of his own voice." Todd laughed and closed the door. "Tell me about it. Want some wine?" "I opened that bottle you've been saving." Of course he did. He probably didn't even remember that bottle was from their anniversary trip to California. The trip where he promised they'd always put each other first. "Sure," Simone said, setting her purse on the kitchen counter. She watched him pour the wine, watched him smile at her, watched him play the role of devoted husband. "So," Todd said, handing her a glass. "Anything exciting happened today?" Simone took a sip. The wine tasted expensive. "Wasted on this moment." "Not really," she lied. "Same old routine." "What about you?" "Client meetings. Paperwork. The usual." He settled onto the couch and patted the seat next to him. "Come watch this documentary with me. It's about real estate development in Dubai. Pretty interesting." Simone sat next to him, her phone in her pocket, the voice note burning a hole through the fabric. She rested her head on his shoulder like she had 1,000 times before. Like nothing was wrong. Like her world hadn't just shattered. "Todd," she said softly. "Yeah. I love you." The lie tasted bitter, but she needed him to believe it. Needed him to think everything was fine. Because the moment he suspected she knew, he would start hiding money, deleting messages, covering his tracks. "I love you too, baby." He kissed the top of her head. Simone closed her eyes and counted to 10. Then she started planning. Monday morning, Simone woke up at 5 a.m., an hour before Todd's alarm. She lay still, listening to him breathe, and tried to remember the last time she really looked at him. When had she stopped noticing the little things? When had she gotten so comfortable that she missed the signs? She slipped out of bed and went downstairs to the home office. Todd kept their financial files in a cabinet he thought was locked, but Simone had known the combination for years. He used their wedding date. How ironic. She pulled out bank statements going back 2 years and started reading. At first, nothing looked wrong. Regular deposits from his business. Regular withdrawals for household expenses, groceries, utilities. Then she noticed the credit card statement paper clipped to the back of the folder. A credit card she didn't know existed. Simone sat down hard in the desk chair. The statement showed charges at expensive restaurants, hotels, jewelry stores, a women's clothing boutique, flowers, champagne. Thousands of dollars every month for the past 18 months. 18 months. A year and a half of lies. She took photos of everything with her phone, making sure each image was clear and readable. Then she put the statements back exactly as she found them and closed the cabinet. At 6 a.m. she made coffee and started breakfast like always. Todd came down at 6:30, already dressed for work, smiling at her like everything was perfect. "Morning, beautiful," he said, kissing her cheek. "Smells great. Just scrambled eggs and toast." Simone handed him a plate. "Your favorite." They ate together at the kitchen island. Todd talked about a new property he was developing. Simone nodded and asked questions and acted interested. Inside, she was counting the charges on that secret credit card, calculating how much money he'd stolen from their future. After Todd left for work, Simone called in sick. She never called in sick. She had perfect attendance for 3 years running. But today she had more important work to do. She spent the morning on her laptop, searching for the best divorce attorneys in the state. She read reviews, checked credentials, made notes. Then she called the top 3 and scheduled consultations. At noon, she drove to a small office on the east side of town. The sign outside said, "Patterson Investigations. Discreet, professional, thorough." A woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression greeted her. "You must be Simone. I'm Patricia Patterson. Come on back." Simone followed her into a neat office with filing cabinets and a large desk covered in folders. Patricia gestured to a chair and sat across from her. "Tell me what's going on," Patricia said. Simone pulled out her phone and played the voice note. She watched Patricia's expression harden as Todd's voice filled the small office, bragging about deceiving his wife. When it ended, Patricia leaned back in her chair. "How long have you been married?" 7 years. "Any children?" "No. We were waiting until we were more financially stable." Simone laughed bitterly. "Guess that was never going to happen with him draining our accounts." Patricia nodded. "What do you need from me?" "Everything. Photos, documents, locations, times. I need to know where he goes, who he sees, how often. I need proof that will hold up in court. I need to make sure he can't lie his way out of this." "That I can do." Patricia pulled out a contract. "My rate is reasonable and I work fast. Based on what you've told me, this should take about 2 weeks. I'll pay whatever it costs." Simone signed the contract without hesitation. "I need to know the truth about everything." They shook hands and Patricia walked her to the door. "Simone," she said quietly, "I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen hundreds of cases like yours. Can I give you some advice?" "Please." "Don't confront him until you have everything in place. Don't let him know you suspect anything. Men like your husband, they're good at talking their way out of trouble. They're good at making you feel crazy for not trusting them. Wait until you have all the evidence. Then hit him with everything at once." Simone nodded. "That's exactly what I plan to do." That afternoon she met with an attorney named Robert Chin. He was young but highly recommended, with a reputation for winning difficult cases. Simone showed him the voice note, the credit card statements, and everything she'd found. Robert listened carefully, taking notes. When she finished, he looked up at her with respect in his eyes. "You've done good work already," he said. "Most clients come in emotional and unprepared. You came in with evidence and a clear head." "I learned from the best," Simone said. "My mother always told me to keep my emotions separate from my strategy." "Smart woman." Robert opened a file. "Here's what we're going to do. First, I'll file paperwork to protect your assets. Then we'll wait for the investigator's report. Once we have everything, we'll file for divorce and request a full financial audit. Based on what you've shown me, you have grounds for a favorable settlement." "I don't want to settle," Simone said firmly. "I want everything I'm entitled to. He stole from our joint accounts. He took out loans against our house without my knowledge. He committed financial fraud. I want the judge to see exactly what he did." Robert smiled. Then that's what we'll do. Simone went home that evening and cooked dinner. When Todd came home, she greeted him with a smile and asked about his day. They ate pasta together. They watched television. They went to bed. And Simone lay awake in the darkness, listening to him sleep, making lists in her head. Evidence to gather. People to call. Plans to make. Her phone was on the nightstand, the voice note saved in multiple places, ready to destroy the life Todd had built on lies. She didn't feel sad anymore. She felt focused, determined, ready. Todd thought she was too trusting. He was about to learn exactly how wrong he was. 2 weeks later, Patricia called. I have your report. You're going to want to sit down for this. Simone was at work, but she closed her office door and locked it. Tell me. Your husband meets Amber Peterson every Friday at the Riverside Hotel. Sometimes Wednesday nights too. I have photos, timestamps, credit card receipts. They've been together for 18 months, just like the voice note suggested. But there's more. More? Patricia's voice got serious. Simone, your husband has been stealing from your joint accounts for over 2 years. He's moved almost $80,000 into a separate account you don't know about. He took out a second mortgage on your house, forged your signature on the documents. He bought Amber a car, paid for her apartment for 6 months, and purchased over $30,000 in jewelry for her. Simone felt cold all over. $80,000? That's what I can verify. There might be more. I'd recommend a forensic accountant go through everything. Your attorney can request that in the divorce proceedings. What about his business? That's interesting, Patricia said. His company looks successful on the surface, but I did some digging. He's been using client funds to cover personal expenses. He's behind on several business loans. If any of his clients found out, he could face serious legal consequences. Simone closed her eyes. The man she married, or thought she married, was not just a cheater. He was a thief, a fraud. Someone who would risk everything for an affair with a woman he barely knew. Send me everything, Simone said. Every photo, every document, every receipt. I want it all. That evening, Simone went through Patricia's report page by page. Photos of Todd and Amber holding hands in parking lots, kissing in hotel lobbies, laughing at restaurants, credit card statements showing charges at expensive stores, bank records showing money transfers, copies of the forged mortgage documents with Simone's signature, a signature that didn't quite match her handwriting if you looked closely. Robert had warned her that seeing the evidence would be painful. But Simone didn't feel pain anymore. She felt clarity. This wasn't about love or trust or fixing a marriage. This was about justice. About making sure Todd paid for what he'd done. She opened her laptop and started a spreadsheet. In one column, she listed every financial crime Todd had committed. Theft from joint accounts, forgery, fraud. In another column, she listed the evidence she had. In a third column, she calculated exactly how much money he'd stolen. The total came to $93,000 when she included the second mortgage, the credit card debt, and the money transferred to his secret account. $93,000 of their future. The down payment for a bigger house. The emergency fund they were building. The retirement savings they'd talked about. All gone. Spent on hotel rooms and jewelry for a woman who laughed at Simone's trusting nature. Simone called Robert. I need a forensic accountant. Patricia found evidence of financial fraud. I want a full audit of everything Todd has access to. I'll have someone start tomorrow, Robert said. Simone, this is going to get complicated. Are you sure you're ready? I've never been more ready for anything in my life. The next morning, Simone woke up before Todd again. She went through his phone while he was in the shower. She knew his passcode, their anniversary again, and found exactly what she expected. Text messages with Amber. Photos. Plans for trips. Discussions about leaving Simone once Todd figured out how to hide enough assets. She took screenshots of everything and emailed them to herself. Then she put the phone back on the nightstand exactly where she found it. At breakfast, Todd was cheerful. Hey, so I have a client dinner on Friday night. Probably won't be home until late. Another one? Simone poured him coffee, her face neutral. You've had a lot of those lately. Business is booming. Todd grinned. Which reminds me, I'm thinking about expanding the company. Might need to move some money around. Would you mind signing some papers this weekend? What kind of papers? Just refinancing stuff. We could get a better interest rate on the house, free up some cash for investment. Simone smiled sweetly. Let me look at them first. You know how I am about finances. Todd's smile faltered for just a second. Then he laughed. Of course. I know you like to read everything. That's why you're so good at your job. After he left, Simone called Robert again. He's trying to get me to sign papers this weekend. Probably to take out more loans. Don't sign anything, Robert said immediately. In fact, I'm filing an injunction today to prevent him from accessing joint accounts or taking out any more loans against your property. He won't know about it until the paperwork is served. When will that happen? I'm thinking we should wait until you're ready to confront him. Have you decided when that will be? Simone looked around the kitchen. The house she'd thought they would raise children in. The home she'd decorated with care. The life she'd built with a man who saw her as an obstacle instead of a partner. Soon, she said. Very soon. That weekend, Todd brought home papers for her to sign. Simone pretended to read them carefully. They were exactly what she expected. Another loan against the house, this time for $50,000. It's a really good opportunity, Todd said, watching her. The interest rate is excellent. I need to think about it, Simone said. This is a lot of money. Todd's jaw tightened. We're married, Simone. We're supposed to make decisions together. Exactly. She met his eyes. So why does it feel like you're pressuring me? I'm not pressuring you. I'm trying to explain that this is a smart financial move. Then give me a week to research it. Todd looked frustrated, but he nodded. Fine. 1 week. Simone knew he didn't have a week, because in 3 days she was going to burn his world down. Simone sat in her boss's office on Monday morning, hands folded in her lap, completely calm. She'd practiced this conversation in her head a dozen times. Johnson, she said. Remember that offer you made 6 months ago about the New York position? Her boss looked up from his computer, surprised. The senior analyst role? Of course. But you turned it down because of your husband's business here. I'd like to accept it now. If it's still available. Johnson studied her face. He was a good boss, perceptive and fair. Is everything all right, Simone? Everything's fine. I'm just ready for a change. A fresh start. He nodded slowly. The position is still open. We've been holding out for the right person. When can you start? 2 weeks. That works. I'll have HR send over the paperwork. Johnson paused. Simone, if you need anything. I appreciate that. But I'm good. Better than good, actually. That evening, Simone started packing. Not obviously. Just small things Todd wouldn't notice. Her grandmother's jewelry. Her favorite books. Important documents. She packed 1 box every few days and stored them in the garage, hidden behind old furniture. She called her best friend Denise and told her everything. Played her the voice note. Showed her the evidence Patricia had gathered. Denise cried and got angry and offered to slash Todd's tires. No weapons, no property damage, Simone said firmly. I'm doing this the legal way. The smart way. I'm going to take everything he tried to steal from me, and I'm going to do it so cleanly he won't be able to fight back. You're amazing, Denise said. I would have confronted him the first night. That's what he would expect. He thinks I'm predictable. Too trusting. He's about to learn I'm neither. Simone called Todd's parents next. His mother, Helen, was a sharp woman who'd never quite warmed to the way Todd treated Simone. She answered on the second ring. Helen, I need to tell you something. It's about Todd. She played the voice note. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. That son of mine, Helen finally said, her voice tight with fury. That stupid, selfish son of mine. What are you going to do, Simone? I'm divorcing him. But first, I'm going to make sure he knows exactly what he's losing. Good. He deserves it. And Simone? Whatever you need from me, testimony, character reference, anything, I'm there. Thank you. That means everything. Next, she called her own mother in Atlanta. Her mother listened to the whole story without interrupting. Baby girl, she said when Simone finished. You know what you have to do. I do. Then do it without looking back. That man doesn't deserve your tears or your forgiveness or your time. Take what's yours and build something better. That's the plan. By the end of the week, Simone had her support system in place. Her friends knew. Her family knew. Todd's own parents knew. The only people who didn't know were Todd and Amber. She found an apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. It was expensive, but her new salary would cover it easily. She sent the security deposit and first month's rent. She scheduled movers for the weekend after next. She opened new bank accounts that only she could access and started transferring her personal money. On Thursday night, Simone sat at the kitchen table with a notebook and wrote out her plan step by step. She was organized by nature. That's what made her good at her job, and she approached her divorce the same way she approached a complex financial analysis. Methodically. Completely. Without emotion clouding her judgment. Step 1 was already complete. She had all the evidence. Step 2 was complete. She had legal representation and financial protection in place. Step 3 was almost done. She'd secured her new job and new apartment. Step 4 was the confrontation. Not a private conversation where Todd could manipulate her. Not a shouting match where emotions ran high. A public reveal where he couldn't escape the truth. Step 5 was the divorce itself. Quick, clean, and completely in her favor. Step 6 was moving forward with her life. Simone looked at the list and felt satisfied. She'd thought of everything. Covered every angle. Protected herself legally and financially. When she walked away from this marriage, she would walk away whole. Todd came home late that night, smelling like expensive perfume. Not her perfume. Embers. "Sorry, honey," he said, kissing her cheek. "Client dinner ran long." "It's fine." Simone closed her notebook. "How was it?" "Productive. I think we're going to close the deal next week." He loosened his tie. "How was your day?" "Actually, it was great. Johnson offered me that promotion to the New York office again." Todd froze. "And?" "I'm thinking about it." "Simone, we've talked about this. My business is here. We can't just uproot our life because—" "I know. You're right. I'm just considering all my options." She smiled at him. "Don't worry. I wouldn't make a big decision like that without talking to you first." Todd relaxed. "Good. Because we're a team. We make decisions together." Simone nodded, biting back the 100 responses flooding her mind. They weren't a team. They'd never been a team. She'd been a convenience. A placeholder. Someone to manage the house and believe his lies while he lived a completely separate life. But soon he would understand exactly what he'd thrown away. And by then it would be far too late to get it back. Friday morning, Simone sent out invitations. Not digital ones, she wanted people to hold something physical in their hands. She designed them on her computer, printed them on nice cardstock and mailed them overnight. "You're invited to a special dinner at the Clark residence. Saturday evening, 7 p.m. We have exciting news to share about our future." She invited Todd's parents, his brother, her own parents and sister, and 5 close friends. Everyone she invited already knew the truth except Todd's brother, Jake, who she called personally. "Jake, I need to tell you something about your brother." She played him the voice note. Jake swore loudly. "That idiot. Simone, I'm so sorry. What can I do? Come to dinner tomorrow night. And act normal. I'm going to confront him in front of everyone. Count me in." Todd needs to face consequences for once in his life. Saturday morning, Simone went to the grocery store and bought food for the dinner party. Expensive steaks. Fresh vegetables. Good wine. She wanted everything to be perfect. Memorable. The kind of evening people would talk about for years. Todd was confused when he came home and saw her cooking. "What's all this?" "I'm making dinner. I invited some people over." "You invited people? Simone, you never do that. What's going on?" "I just felt like being social." "Is that a problem?" Todd looked suspicious. "No, it's just unusual." "Who's coming?" "Your parents, Jake, my family, a few friends. Nothing big. Just about 15 people." 15? Todd ran his hand through his hair. "Baby, I wish you'd told me earlier. I might have had plans." "On a Saturday night? Don't you usually have client dinners on Fridays?" His eyes shifted. "Right. Yeah. I guess Saturday works." "Good." Simone chopped vegetables with precise, controlled movements. "Because I really want everyone to be here for this. It's important." At 6 p.m., Simone went upstairs and changed into a red dress. Not for Todd. For herself. Because tonight, she was taking her power back, and she wanted to look exactly like the strong, confident woman she'd become over the past month. She straightened her hair, put on makeup, wore the diamond earrings her grandmother left her. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Not because she looked different, but because her eyes were different. Harder. Determined. Done with being the fool. People started arriving at 6:30. Todd's parents came first. Helen hugged Simone tightly and whispered, "We're with you." Her own parents arrived next. Her mother took one look at her face and nodded approvingly. "That's my girl. Strong and ready." Friends filtered in. Jake arrived last, greeting Todd normally but giving Simone a look that said he was ready for whatever came next. "I'm moving to New York on Monday. I'm starting a new job, a new life, a new chapter. You'll hear from my attorney about the divorce proceedings. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my new workplace. If you do, I'll file charges for harassment on top of everything else. Todd sank into a chair, his face in his hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't want your apology. I want you out of my life. Simone turned to her guests. Thank you all for being here. For supporting me. Let's finish the cake in the kitchen while Todd packs his things. She walked away from him without looking back. Her mother hugged her. Denise squeezed her hand. And for the first time in 3 weeks, Simone felt like she could breathe. The officers arrived exactly on time. 2 men in uniform who'd clearly handled situations like this before. They were professional and calm as they explained to Todd that he had 2 hours to pack his essentials and leave the property. Todd tried to argue. This is my house too. No, sir. The older officer checked his paperwork. The deed is in Mrs. Clark's name only. She has the legal right to ask you to leave. You can collect your belongings, but you cannot remain on the property after that. Jake stepped forward. Come on, Todd. Let's get this over with. While Todd packed upstairs, Simone stayed in the kitchen with everyone else. Her mother made coffee. Denise cut more cake. People talked quietly, processing what they'd just witnessed. Helen came over and took Simone's hands. I need you to know something. I always thought you were too good for him. Helen. No, let me finish. When Todd brought you home 7 years ago, I saw how you looked at him. Like he hung the moon. And I saw how he looked at you. Like you were a trophy he'd won. I told his father we should say something, but we didn't. We thought maybe he'd grow up. That marriage would make him better. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry we didn't warn you. This isn't your fault. Maybe not. But I'm still sorry. And I want you to know that if you need anything at all, you call me. I mean it. Simone hugged her. Thank you. That means more than you know. Todd's father approached next. He was a man of few words, but his face said everything. Disappointment. Anger. Sadness. My son is a fool, he said simply. You deserve better, Simone. I hope you find it in New York. After an hour, Todd came downstairs with 3 suitcases. His face was red, his eyes swollen. He looked at Simone one last time. Can we please talk? Just the 2 of us? 5 minutes? Simone almost said no. Almost told him he'd lost the right to private conversations. But something in his expression made her pause. Maybe it was the 7 years they'd spent together. Maybe it was the woman she used to be, the one who still believed in giving people chances. 5 minutes, she said. In the office. They went into the home office and closed the door. Todd immediately started crying. Simone, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. Please, give me a chance to fix this. You can't fix this. Yes, I can. I'll end things with Amber. I'll get therapy. I'll do whatever it takes. Please don't throw away 7 years of marriage. Simone sat down at the desk. Todd, do you even understand what you did? I had an affair. I know it was wrong. You didn't just have an affair. You stole from me. You forged my signature on legal documents. You committed fraud. You put our house, my house, at risk. You spent our savings on another woman while lying to my face every single day for 18 months. I'll pay it all back. With what money? Your business is failing. Patricia's investigator found out you're behind on business loans. You've been using client funds to cover personal expenses. Todd, you're not just a cheater. You're a criminal. You went pale. You had me investigated? Of course I did. I'm not the stupid, trusting wife you thought I was. I documented everything. Bank records, hotel receipts, text messages, photos. I have proof of every lie you told, every dollar you stole, every time you betrayed our marriage. And I'm going to make sure the judge sees all of it. Simone, please. Do you know what hurt the most? She stood up. It wasn't the affair. People make mistakes. People fall out of love. I could have eventually understood that. What hurt was hearing you mock me to her. Hearing you laugh about how trusting I was. How clueless. How easy I was to fool. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every word. Because if you didn't, you would have felt guilty enough to stop. But you didn't stop. You got bolder. You stole more money. You took out loans against my house. You planned trips. You bought her a car. You were building a whole separate life and laughing at me for not noticing. Todd reached for her hand. She pulled away. I loved you, Simone said quietly. I gave you 7 years of loyalty and trust. I supported your business. I managed our home. I believed in us. And you repaid me by treating me like an obstacle. Something to work around while you did whatever you wanted. I did love you. I do love you. No. You love what I did for you. You love having someone to come home to. Someone to keep your house clean and your life organized. Someone who didn't ask too many questions. But you never loved me. Because if you did, you couldn't have done this. The door opened. One of the officers looked in. Time's up, sir. Todd looked at Simone desperately. What about Amber? Are you going to? What? Confront her? Expose her? Fight with her? Simone shook her head. She means nothing to me. She's your problem now. You two can have each other. I'm moving on to better things. Simone. Goodbye, Todd. My attorney will be in touch. She walked out of the office. The officers escorted Todd to Jake's car. Helen hugged Simone one more time. Everyone filed out slowly, offering support, promising to call, making sure she was okay. Finally, it was just Simone alone in the house. She locked the door, checked every window, set the alarm. Then she went upstairs to her bedroom. She looked at the bed she'd shared with Todd for 7 years. Tomorrow she would buy a new one. Tonight she would sleep on the couch. But first she opened her laptop and booked a one-way flight to New York for Monday morning. She ordered moving services. She sent confirmation emails to her new employer. At midnight her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Amber. We need to talk about Todd. Simone looked at the message for a long moment. Then she blocked the number without responding. Amber was Todd's problem now. Simone had bigger things to worry about. Like building a new life. Like becoming the woman she was always meant to be. Sunday morning, Simone woke up on the couch to 17 missed calls from Todd and 12 text messages. She didn't read them. She blocked his number and got to work. The movers arrived at 8 a.m. Simone had spent Saturday night packing the things she wanted to keep. Furniture she'd bought before the marriage. Her clothes. Her books. Her grandmother's china. Everything that was purely hers. She left Todd's belongings in neat boxes in the garage. His clothes. His golf clubs. His collection of watches. She didn't damage anything. Didn't throw things away out of spite. She simply separated their lives as cleanly as possible. By noon the moving truck was loaded. Simone handed the driver the address in New York and watched him drive away with her belongings. Then she called a real estate agent. I need to sell a house. Fast. I want it listed tomorrow. The agent came over that afternoon. She walked through the rooms, took notes, and gave Simone a number. In this market, with this location, you should have offers within a week. Perfect. Simone spent Sunday evening at Denise's apartment. They ordered takeout and watched movies and didn't talk about Todd at all. Felt good. Normal. Like maybe life could be simple again. Monday morning, Simone's flight left at 6 a.m. Her parents drove her to the airport. You're doing the right thing, baby girl, her mother said at the security checkpoint. Don't ever doubt that. I won't. She boarded the plane and didn't look back. New York was cold and loud and exactly what she needed. The city moved fast and nobody knew her story. Nobody looked at her with pity or asked if she was okay. She was just another person trying to make it in the big city. Her apartment was small but bright, with big windows overlooking the street. She unpacked her boxes, hung her grandmother's pictures on the walls, and made the space hers. Her first day at the new job was Wednesday. Her colleagues were smart and driven and welcoming. Her boss gave her 3 major projects right away. The work was challenging and consuming, and Simone was grateful for the distraction. Meanwhile, back home the fallout was spreading. Robert called on Thursday. Simone, I thought you'd want to know. Todd's business partners found out about the affair and the financial fraud. 2 of them are pulling out of joint ventures. His reputation is taking a serious hit. Good. There's more. Amber's company fired her. Apparently, she was having an affair with a married client, against their ethics policy. And there's a clause in her contract about bringing the company into disrepute. Simone felt a small flicker of satisfaction. What about Todd? He's scrambling, trying to find investors to save his business. But word has gotten around. People know he forged documents and misused client funds. Nobody wants to work with him. And the divorce? Moving forward smoothly. His attorney tried to argue for joint assets, but our evidence is too strong. The judge took one look at the forged mortgage documents and ruled in your favor on preliminary hearings. We should have a final settlement within 6 weeks. What kind of settlement? The house. 70% of all joint assets. Full repayment of the money he stole, plus interest. And he's responsible for all the fraudulent debt. Simone smiled. Robert, you're worth every penny. She hung up and looked out her window at the New York skyline. Somewhere back home, Todd was probably panicking. Calling his parents. trying to figure out how to salvage his business and his life. But Simone didn't care. He'd made his choices. Now he had to live with them. Her phone rang. Helen. Simone, I wanted to update you. Todd came to our house asking for money. We said no. Good. He's not doing well. His business is falling apart. Jake told me he's been drinking too much. He keeps talking about how he can fix things with you. There's nothing to fix. He made his choices. I know. I just wanted you to know. And I wanted to tell you how proud I am of you. You handled this with such grace and strength. You're going to be okay, Simone. Better than okay. Thank you, Helen. That means a lot. That weekend, Simone explored her new neighborhood. She found a coffee shop she loved, a bookstore with a cat, a gym with morning yoga classes. She made plans to visit museums. She bought a new bed and new sheets and slept better than she had in months. Monday morning, 3 weeks after arriving in New York, Simone got a call from the real estate agent. We have an offer on the house. Full asking price. Cash buyer. They want to close in 2 weeks. Accept it. The papers were signed electronically. The sale went through without a single complication. Simone walked away with a substantial profit. Money that was purely hers since Todd's name was never on the deed. She used some of it to furnish her apartment. The rest went into investments and savings. Building a future she could count on. Robert called with more news. The divorce is final. The judge signed everything yesterday. You're officially free. Free. Simone repeated the word. It felt strange and wonderful. The settlement money should hit your account within 48 hours. Todd's attorney tried to negotiate a payment plan, but the judge denied it. Todd has to pay everything immediately or face additional legal consequences. What about the business? He had to sell it to cover the settlement and his debts. He's essentially starting over from nothing. Simone felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, no anger. Just nothing. Todd was a chapter of her life that was over. She was ready to write new ones. That night, she went to dinner with colleagues from work. They went to a loud restaurant in the West Village and talked about everything except broken marriages and betrayal. Simone laughed more than she had in years. She felt light. Unchained. When she got home, she found one last text message from an unknown number. She almost blocked it immediately, but something made her read it first. I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. I hope you find happiness in New York. Todd. Simone stared at the message for a long moment. Then she typed one word, goodbye. She blocked the number, deleted the message thread, and never thought about him again. 3 months in New York, and Simone barely recognized her old life. The woman who used to wake up at 5 a.m. to make breakfast for her husband seemed like someone from another lifetime. Someone smaller. More afraid. This new version of herself, the one who walked through Central Park in the mornings before work, who took language classes at night, who said yes to drinks with colleagues without worrying about getting home to cook dinner, this version felt real in a way the old one never had. Simone, table 6 is asking for you, her colleague Rachel said one Friday evening. They'd gone out after work to a wine bar in Soho, making it a weekly tradition. They don't know me. They're asking if you're single. Rachel grinned. There's a cute guy over there who's been staring at you for 20 minutes. I'm not interested. When was the last time you went on a date? Never. I got married young. Rachel's eyes widened. Wait, you've never been on a date? Like never? Todd and I met in college. We started dating, got engaged, got married. No dating phase. Then you definitely need to talk to table 6. Simone glanced over. The man was nice-looking, tall, well-dressed, reading a book while nursing a glass of wine. He looked up and caught her eye. Smiled. She smiled back politely and turned away. I'm not ready. It's been 3 months. Exactly. 3 months since my divorce was finalized. 6 months since I found out my husband was cheating. I need more time. Rachel squeezed her hand. Fair enough. But promise me you'll at least consider it eventually. You deserve good things, Simone. I have good things. A great job. A nice apartment. Good friends. That's enough for now. At work, Simone was excelling. Her boss gave her lead on a major project analyzing investment portfolios for high-net-worth clients. She worked long hours, but she loved it. The problems were complex and engaging, and solving them felt satisfying in a way cooking dinner for Todd never had. Simone, can I see you in my office? Johnson called one Tuesday morning. She brought her tablet and notes, expecting to discuss the project. Instead, Johnson gestured for her to sit. How are you settling in? Really well. The team is great and I love the work. Good. Because I'm about to make your workload even heavier. He slid a folder across the desk. We're launching a new division focused on ethical investments. Companies that prioritize sustainability, fair labor practices, social responsibility. I want you to head it. Simone opened the folder. The proposal was extensive, multi-million-dollar portfolios, major clients, a team of 5 analysts reporting to her. This is a huge opportunity. You've earned it. Your analysis on the Peterson portfolio was brilliant. Your work is meticulous and insightful. I think you're ready for this level of responsibility. When would I start? Next month. We'll announce it company-wide next week. Simone left his office feeling stunned. A promotion. A leadership role. More money, more responsibility, more everything. This was what she'd worked toward her entire career, and it was finally happening. She called her mother that night. Baby, I'm so proud of you. See what happens when you're not being held back. Mom, I wasn't being held back. I chose to support Todd's career. Which meant putting yours on hold. How many times did you turn down opportunities because Todd didn't want to move? How many late nights did you skip work events to go to his client dinners? Simone went quiet. Her mother was right. She'd made herself smaller to fit into Todd's life. She'd been so focused on being a good wife that she'd forgotten to be herself. You're right, she admitted. I did make myself smaller. But not anymore. Now you're showing everyone what you're capable of. And honey, you're just getting started. That weekend, Simone treated herself to a shopping trip. New clothes for her new role. Professional but stylish. She bought a gray suit that made her feel powerful, a red dress that made her feel confident, and shoes expensive enough that the old Simone would have agonized over the purchase. This Simone bought them without hesitation. She joined a book club that met on Wednesday evenings. Made plans with colleagues on weekends. Took herself to brunch and movies and museums without feeling lonely. She was learning to enjoy her own company, to fill her life with things that mattered to her. One evening she was walking home from yoga when her phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Simone? It's Patricia. From the investigation. Patricia, hi. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I'm actually calling because I have a case I thought you might be interested in hearing about. It's kind of related to your situation. What do you mean? Remember Amber? Your ex-husband's mistress. I try not to. Well, she's gotten herself into trouble. She's been running a scam, dating wealthy men, getting them to give her money, then disappearing. One of her victims hired me to investigate. I found a pattern going back 3 years. Todd wasn't her first married target. Simone stopped walking. So she's a con artist? Essentially. She targeted your husband because his business looked successful. She had no idea he was stealing to fund the affair. Now she's being investigated for fraud. Good. I thought you'd want to know. Justice has a way of catching up with people. After Patricia hung up, Simone stood on the sidewalk thinking about Amber. About how she'd blamed the other woman for the affair, how she'd felt betrayed by someone she'd never met. But the truth was simpler. Amber was a con artist looking for an easy mark. And Todd was selfish enough to be one. They deserved each other. Simone went home, made herself dinner, and sat by her window watching the city lights. Her life wasn't perfect. She still had moments of sadness, moments when she wondered if she'd made the right choices. But mostly she felt free, unburdened, ready. Ready for whatever came next. 6 months after moving to New York, Simone was sitting in her office reviewing investment proposals when her assistant knocked on the door. There's a file that came in this morning. It's marked urgent. Simone took the folder. It was a standard investment request, a real estate development company looking for capital to stay afloat. She opened it and started reading. Then she saw the name. Clark Development Company. Todd's business. She sat back in her chair, staring at the proposal. Of all the investment firms in New York, Todd's dying company ended up on her desk. The irony was almost funny. Almost. She read through the proposal carefully. Todd was desperate. His company had lost major investors. His business partners had pulled out. He was drowning in debt and needed a significant cash infusion to avoid bankruptcy. The proposal was poorly written, rushed, full of promises that didn't hold up under scrutiny. Todd was grasping at straws, sending out dozens of these proposals hoping someone would bite. He didn't know his ex-wife was the one reviewing it. Simone could help him. She had the authority to approve or reject the proposal. She could save his business with one signature. Or she could let it sink. She closed the folder and thought about it for a long time. The old Simone, The one who made herself smaller, who supported her husband without question. That woman would have helped. Would have felt obligated. Would have separated business from personal feelings. But the new Simone? She understood something important. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is let them face the consequences of their actions. She opened her laptop and started typing a rejection letter. Not a simple form letter. A detailed analysis of exactly why his business was failing and why no smart investor would trust him. Your company's financial records show a pattern of mismanagement and questionable practices. Your business partners have left, citing concerns about fraud and unethical behavior. Your reputation in the industry has been severely damaged. You have outstanding debts and legal issues. Your proposal offers no clear path to profitability and no evidence that you can manage resources responsibly. She continued for 2 pages, systematically dismantling every aspect of his proposal. Then she ended with this. Based on this analysis, I must recommend rejection of this investment request. I would further advise that before seeking additional investors, you address the fundamental issues that led to your company's current situation. Lack of integrity, poor financial management, and an inability to maintain professional relationships built on trust. She signed it with her full name and title, Simone Clark, Director of Ethical Investment Analysis. She didn't mention that she was his ex-wife. Didn't make it personal. This was purely business. And from a business perspective, Todd's company was a terrible investment. She sent the letter to her supervisor for final approval. Her boss read it and nodded. Excellent analysis. This company is clearly not viable. Good catch, Simone. Just doing my job. The rejection letter went out that afternoon. Simone didn't think about Todd receiving it. Didn't imagine his face when he read it. She filed the folder away and moved on to the next proposal. A week later, she got a call from Robert, her attorney. Simone, I'm calling because Todd tried to contact me. He wanted your new address. I hope you didn't give it to him. Of course not. But he seemed desperate. He said his business is failing and he needs to talk to you. Something about an investment opportunity. Simone smiled. He doesn't know it was me who rejected his proposal. Should I be worried? Is he going to cause problems? No. He's just learning that actions have consequences. Let him figure it out on his own. That evening, Simone went to a networking event her company was hosting. She talked to potential clients, made connections, represented her division professionally. She was good at this. Better than she'd ever realized. At the end of the night, she was standing by the window looking out at the Manhattan skyline when someone approached. You look like you're plotting world domination. She turned. The man was about her age with kind eyes and an easy smile. He held 2 glasses of champagne and offered her one. Just thinking about how much my life has changed in 6 months. Good changes? Very good changes. I'm Jerome, by the way. I'm an architect. I heard your presentation earlier about ethical investments. Really impressive. Thank you. I'm Simone. They talked for an hour. About work, about the city, about architecture and finance and how buildings were like portfolios. They needed strong foundations to weather storms. Jerome was intelligent and funny and he listened when she talked instead of waiting for his turn to speak. Can I be honest? Jerome said eventually. I've been trying to work up the courage to talk to you all evening. Why? Because you're fascinating. And beautiful. And you have this energy, like you know exactly who you are and what you want. It's attractive. Simone felt something flutter in her chest. Not love. Not yet. But possibility. I'm recently divorced, she said carefully. Very recently. I'm not sure I'm ready for. How about we just get coffee? Jerome pulled out a business card. No pressure. No expectations. Just coffee and conversation. If you're interested. Simone took the card. Jerome Chin, Architectural Design. She smiled at the coincidence. She'd spent 6 months avoiding anyone named Chin, and here was someone making her smile. Coffee sounds nice. Saturday morning? There's a great place in the West Village. Saturday works. Jerome smiled wider. Great. I'll text you the details. He walked away and Simone stood there holding his business card, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Oh. The next morning she had another surprise. Her boss called her into his office along with the CFO. Simone, we've been reviewing your work. Your division is outperforming every projection we had. You've brought in major clients and your analysis has saved us from several bad investments. I'm just doing my job. You're doing exceptional work. Which is why we want to offer you a partnership track position. It comes with a significant raise, stock options, and a seat at quarterly board meetings. Simone's heart raced. A partnership? Already? You've proven yourself. We'd be fools not to invest in your future with this company. She accepted on the spot. That night she called her mother and cried. Happy tears. Relieved tears. Tears for the woman she used to be and the woman she'd become. Baby girl, I'm so proud of you. Look at everything you've built. I couldn't have done it without you. Without everyone who supported me. Yes, you could have. This was all you, Simone. Your strength. Your intelligence. Your refusal to let Todd's betrayal define your life. Saturday morning, Simone met Jerome for coffee. They talked for 3 hours. About their lives, their goals, their dreams. Jerome had been divorced 2-3 years ago. He understood the process of rebuilding. Of learning to trust again. I'm not looking for anything serious, Simone said honestly. I'm focusing on my career right now. That's fair. How about we just enjoy getting to know each other? No timelines. No pressure. I can do that. They made plans to meet again. Not a date exactly. Just two people who enjoyed each other's company, seeing where things might go. Simone walked home through Central Park, watching families and couples and groups of friends. The sun was bright, the air was cool, and she felt content. Not happy in the explosive, overwhelming way people described in movies. Just content. Satisfied with her life and excited for what came next. Her phone buzzed. A text from Denise. How was coffee with the architect? Good. Really good. That's my girl. Moving on and moving up. Simone smiled and kept walking. Moving on and moving up. That sounded exactly right. Simone stood in her corner office overlooking Fifth Avenue, holding a glass of champagne. It was late afternoon on a Friday, exactly 1 year after the voice note that changed everything. Her team had just closed the biggest deal in the division's history. A $100 million ethical investment fund that would reshape how the industry thought about corporate responsibility. Simone, everyone's asking for you downstairs, Rachel poked her head in. The celebration is getting started. I'll be right there. Alone in her office, Simone thought about the journey. 1 year ago, she'd been sitting in her car, listening to her husband mock her. Now she was a partner at one of the most prestigious investment firms in New York. She'd built a team, launched a successful division, and made more money than she'd ever imagined. But more than that, she built a life. A real life, not someone else's vision of what her life should be. Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and smiled. Jerome. Hey, she answered. How did the board meeting go? They loved it. We're moving forward with everything. I'm proud of you. His voice was warm. Want to celebrate tonight? I'll cook. You're going to cook for me? Unless you'd rather go out? No, cooking sounds perfect. Your place. 7 o'clock. I'll make that pasta you like. They've been seeing each other for 4 months now. Slowly. Carefully. Building something real instead of rushing. Jerome never pushed. Never demanded more than she was ready to give. He understood that she needed space to figure out who she was outside of being someone's wife. I'll bring wine, Simone said. After hanging up, she looked at her reflection in the window. The woman staring back was confident. Strong. Sure of herself in a way the old Simone never was. Her work phone buzzed. An email from an unknown sender. She almost deleted it, but the subject line caught her attention. Clark Development bankruptcy filing. She opened it. The email was from a business news service she subscribed to, alerting her that Clark Development Company had officially filed for bankruptcy. Todd's business was done. Simone felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, no vindication. Todd was just someone she used to know. His failures weren't her problem anymore. She deleted the email and went downstairs to join her team. The party was in full swing, music, food, champagne flowing freely. Her colleagues cheered when she arrived. People congratulated her, told her the division's success was because of her leadership. Simone accepted the praise gracefully, made a short speech thanking everyone and meant every word. Later that evening, she took a taxi to Jerome's apartment in Brooklyn. He'd cooked pasta with homemade sauce and set the table with candles. This is really nice, Simone said looking around. You deserve nice things. Jerome pulled out her chair. So tell me everything. How does it feel to be the youngest partner in your firm's history? Surreal. Exciting. A little scary. Scary how? Like maybe I'm not ready? Like maybe I got lucky? Jerome reached across the table and took her hand. Simone, you didn't get lucky. You worked harder than anyone I know. You earned this. They ate dinner and talked about everything. his latest architectural project, her plans for expanding the division, the art exhibit they wanted to see next weekend. Easy conversation. Comfortable silence. The kind of relationship that felt natural instead of forced. After dinner, they sat on his couch drinking wine. Jerome put on music, jazz low and smooth. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "Always." "Do you ever regret how things ended with your ex-husband?" Simone thought about it. "No. I regret marrying him in the first place. I regret not seeing the signs earlier. But leaving him? That was the best decision I ever made. Because now you have all this success? No. Because now I have myself. The success is great, but what matters is that I know who I am. I'm not trying to fit into someone else's life anymore. I'm building my own." Jerome kissed her forehead. "I'm glad you're building it. And I'm really glad I get to be part of it." "Me too." They stayed up talking until midnight. Then Jerome walked her down to get a taxi home. He kissed her goodnight, gentle and sweet and promising more when she was ready. Simone rode home through the city streets, watching New York flash by outside the window. The city that had given her a fresh start. The city where she'd learned to be strong. When she got home, she found a message from Helen, Todd's mother. "Simone, I hope you're well. I wanted you to know that Todd's business failed. He had to file bankruptcy. I don't tell you this to upset you. I tell you because I want you to know that the truth always comes out. What he did to you, it caught up with him. I hope you're happy, dear. You deserve all good things." Simone saved the message, then opened her laptop. She pulled up her bank account, something she checked regularly now, making sure she was in control of her own finances. The number on the screen made her smile. Her investments had performed brilliantly. Her salary and bonuses had accumulated. Her savings account was healthy. Her retirement fund was growing. She was officially independently wealthy. Not because of Todd. Not because of anyone else. Because of her own work, her own intelligence, her own determination. She opened a new document and started writing. Not for work. Just for herself. A journal entry about the past year. About pain and growth and learning to stand on her own. She wrote, "A year ago I thought my life was over. I thought Todd's betrayal had broken me. But I was wrong. It didn't break me. It freed me. It showed me who I really was underneath all the compromises and accommodations I'd made to be a good wife. I was strong. I was smart. I was capable of so much more than I'd allowed myself to become. Today I stood in my office overlooking Fifth Avenue and realized I'm happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. Not because I'm in a relationship or because I have money or because I got revenge on my ex-husband. I'm happy because I built a life I love. Because every morning I wake up excited about my day. Because I'm surrounded by people who respect and value me. Because I finally know my own worth. Todd didn't destroy me. He gave me the push I needed to destroy the small, scared version of myself that was hiding in his shadow. And for that, I guess I should thank him. But I won't. Because he doesn't deserve my gratitude or my anger or any of my energy. This is my life now. Mine. And it's just getting started." Simone saved the document and closed her laptop. She went to bed in her expensive apartment, in her expensive sheets, and slept soundly. Sunday afternoon her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Simone." A man's voice. Not Todd's. "Who is this?" "I'm Andrew Chin, Todd's former business partner. I know this is strange, but I wanted to reach out to you." "Why?" "Because I wanted to apologize. When Todd's affairs came to light, I realized I'd ignored warning signs. I'd suspected he was misusing funds, but I looked the other way because the business was profitable. I should have said something. Done something. I'm sorry." Simone was quiet for a moment. "Andrew, you don't owe me an apology. Todd's choices weren't your responsibility." "Maybe not. But I still feel bad about what happened. You deserved better." "I did. And now I have better. But thank you for calling. It means something." After they hung up, Simone realized something important. Todd's story wasn't her story anymore. He was a footnote. A chapter that ended. She didn't need closure from him or apologies from the people who enabled him. She had closure because she'd given it to herself. That evening, she met her friends for dinner in the village. Rachel, a few colleagues, some new friends from her book club. They laughed and ate and talked about everything except work. At one point, Rachel raised her glass. To Simone. "The strongest woman I know." Everyone cheered. Simone felt her eyes water. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For everything. For being my people." Walking home that night, Simone stopped in Central Park. She stood on a bridge overlooking the water and thought about where she'd been and where she was going. Her phone buzzed. A notification from her investment app. Her portfolio had just increased significantly. One of her personal investments had paid off brilliantly. She smiled and kept walking. The next morning she went to work early. She had meetings with potential clients, a presentation to finalize and a team lunch to plan. Her calendar was full, her desk was organized, her coffee was perfect.